Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, this is just a late night, can't sleep, thinking about knives type of thing. And stuff that I've been doing on my channel. I was just using a little case paste on my GEC that this one, the bolsters have got tarnished. And it's true, it depends on what kind of leather slip you put it in. Usually the pretty good leather ones, they don't have any of those tanning acids and stuff. But the super cheap, inexpensive ones, you got to expect that. Like the Rough Rider ones, they're only like $2 or $3 a slip. Um, if you leave your knife in there, it's going to tarnish. But with this case paste, it pretty much takes it all off. This one was really starting to look like a 100-year-old knife, and it cleaned it up real well. But what I wanted to talk about, one of the things I've been doing, I'm messing around with these different uh, commercials and TV shows and stuff like that. And the problem is, I'll put up examples, over here, a screenshot of what you get when you get a copyright claim. But what it'll do, it'll pop up there, and you can get this for either the video content or for the audio content. Now, the AI is always awake. It's always out there. It's looking for a match. If it finds a match, then it's an if-then statement, from computer programming. If this happens, then do this. And so it says, if you see this, and it matches this particular movie, and this movie has a copyright thing, boom, flag that sucker. And what they do is, instead of giving you a strike, like copyright strike, because, it used to be 3 strikes you're out. It still is. If you do, like copyright violations, it still is 3 strikes you're out. But this pre-check, when you upload videos now, does a pretty good job of looking for that stuff. And so when it pops up, you'll see a red, asterisk over by checks, instead of a blue circle or whatever, it'll be red, and it'll have like an exclamation point over it, like, oh shit. And so what you do is you click on that, and that gives you details. It'll say you've got a copyright strike, and then it'll say something about details. When you click on the details, it'll show you, here's your original video, here's a segment, it's got a copyright strike against it. So sometimes you think, all right, all I have to do is just take that segment out, and they won't have any problem with it. Well, that's true, but a lot of times that's the majority of what I'm doing. So I think I figured out a way to get around this. And my whole purpose is this experimentation. First off, I want to see what AI detects. What is it going off of? Is it going off of audio? If it's going off of audio, how loud does the volume have to be, before it starts picking it up? I experiment with shit like this. And that's what I want to see, is because to me, the way I am, it's not that I'm, a super lawless person or whatever, but I always test rules and regulations, especially arbitrary ones that say this and that. Here comes a rant. Because, say, for example, a guy is on a street corner, and he's got a little violin, and he's playing music, for whatever reason, to get money. And you happen to be making a major production movie or some other stuff over there. Well, if you're a major production movie, you'd already clear this. But if you're making some other major content on the other side that has nothing to do with Mr. Violin, but the audio picks it up, and Mr. Violin player, street player, he happened to be an lawyer, and he fell down on his luck with a drug problem and everything. He was on the street. He had a little monkey with him at one time, but then the monkey, got taken away from him. Monkey Protective Services came along and took away his monkey. And that was his big breadwinner. The monkey would do all the tricks. All he had to do is sit back there and act like he played a violin. But anyways, he's down on his luck, and he decided to patent his music. And he puts it up there, and somehow Google and YouTube got a hold of it. And, all right, he's got claim to that music. Now, you're doing something else, like I said, in the background, that has nothing to do with monkey player, monkey violin player. And yet still, because that music is copyrighted, He gets two choices. He can have your video not seen by anyone at all, or he can allow your video to go up, but he gets all the proceeds of the ad revenue. See? So he basically profits off of your stuff because he happened to be on a street corner and his music was loud enough to be picked up by AI. So that's what I think of the irony of this stuff is because, yeah, I don't mind. Um, I see what they're trying to do. It's like somebody like you make a knife video and you put it up and you do that, and then somebody else uploads it and then just takes your name off and puts their name up on it and claims that they're you. Well, yeah, that's not right, but that's not what I'm doing with these movies or these shows. And my whole purpose behind that is I want to get it down to like a little trailer type segment that you can just throw in at the end of a serious video. Because a lot of times knife reviews are serious. I mean, yeah, we seriously like our knives and we like all this stuff, but sometimes it can get kind of dry, just going with statistics and knife steels and performances and blade shapes. We all love that, you usually can't get enough of it. But if you can interject a little humor in there, sometimes I think it doesn't have to be all the time, but that's what I'm attempting to do is something like that. So you'll see stuff and it'll look like, what in the hell is he doing? And it's just a refinement process and a testing process. I'm testing the rules. So also one of the things I was thinking about is you have high-end knives and inexpensive knives in here, right? And if you were to get somebody that's inexperienced to look at these knives and look at them and ask them, they know nothing about Case or Boker or Rough Rider or Marbles or any of that, Imperial or any of these knives, you get someone to look at them and say, which ones are the most expensive ones? You know how it usually goes. Because we as knife users and enthusiasts and stuff already know GEC or stuff like that's going to be high dollar. Case is going to be mid-range dollar. Boker can be either one. It can get up there with GEC in price on some of the Boker. Like they've got bog oak or different kind of woods like castle wood and stuff, and you can pay a pretty penny for some of their knives. But I mean, just seriously, just looking at these like this, if you didn't know, this handle material looks a lot like this handle material and this handle material and this hand material, and this long longitudinal stripe, even though it's different colorations, looks a lot like this one. Just looking at it, just on the appearance. Now you start going fit and finish, and you'll start noticing a little bit of difference, but not always. Now, the fit and finish part is something that we as knife enthusiasts really get into. The fit and finish and the steel and the name. But what a regular knife user or just an average Joe looks at is, what does it look like? How pretty does it look like? Or is it threatening or non-threatening if they're a sheeple or something? But, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that because who cares about non-knife enthusiast opinions of stuff, Really what matters is your own opinion. But a lot of times we have biases. We'll look at things and we'll automatically judge these to be superior to the other one just because of the name, And some companies, sometimes, they were good at one time, and then they start slacking off just because of the name. Unless people call them out on it, they have to straighten up. Other ones, like Rough Rider and everything, these turn out to be good users and work knives. They're not as good as, like if you start hard using some of these seriously, a lot of times you're going to get your bolster getting weak. I don't know about Case. Like I said, because these are my 3 cases right here. And I know about GC a little bit because I have that bullnose. I've got it over here. Let me pause this. I have the bullnose GEC 71, and is it 71? Yeah, 2018. Still got a firm lock up to it. There's no play in the blade. This knife has been used. It was used before it was sent to me, and it's still in perfect shape. Great lockup. Nice little orange handle here. Now, this one, like most bullnose, I was talking about this on Knife Fast because he did one on a GEC 71, and I said I like them. I mean, I like the company, I like the knives, but GEC, because of its reputation, if you talk to a lot of people, they'll say, well, it's the best knife that you can get. It's the best made knife out there currently. A best made knife should never have blade wrap. And when I'm talking about blade wrap is you drop this without easing it. I don't care how strong the spring is. Once gravity starts taking over after this half stop, if you let this knife go and you're a quality manufacturer, you should never get a pin wrap. You should never get a pin wrap off that pin. If you do, you've got an issue. Either with the height of your tang or this raised back spring. I think it's the back spring itself is the issue, because they've got to raise it up to allow this little pin to go in. And when they do, sometimes there's too much metal there. And that's what causes blade wrap. And so what happens? You're using your knife, it's nice and sharp, and then if you're cutting, dull for just a little second, and then it continues on. You think, well, you know, I must have hit something. No, you just let the knife close normally. You know, some people say, you should never let a quality knife. A quality knife should not do that, in my opinion. That's all I'm saying. If I can get an El Cheapo knife, you know, and do the same thing, and have it, this is not, you know, the same example, like a sod buster or anything, but, you know, take a Rough Rider work knife and do this. Now, Rough Rider will get these too, but they're a $15 knife. This one's probably more like about $40 or $50 knife, maybe higher. And if you get an even more expensive one, well, that too is inexcusable, you know. Now, this one doesn't have it. It doesn't have, you know, none of these other two GECs don't have blade wrap, don't have that issue. This is the only one. And the only reason why I brought this up is it seems to happen a lot on this particular model of GEC. Only, the 71 model. And this was 2018, and somebody got one recently and had it. So it's 2021. Come on, man. Somebody must have given you some feedback by now that said, hey, you got an issue with these. And you either bullshitted them, you bullshitted your way out and said, it's your problem, it's your fault, you know. Or I don't know if they included a little insert, please, you know, if you're out on the farm and you're using your knife, please ease it down with two hands. Never let it drop like this, or you'll void your warranty. I don't know if they've got that in there. I'm just saying. I told you there might be a rant. But anyways, yeah, if you can't afford higher-end knives, don't feel like you've completely lost out. But I would recommend, if you're into knife collecting, you know, and you're on the lowest budget possible, like you can only afford $10 a month for a knife, well, you're going to have to save up, and you're going to have to do without knives for a while. But try to get a GEC just to see if you like it, you know. And if you can't, you know, because of availability, you know how that is and stuff, then don't be afraid to go to case. Don't be afraid to go to case, because I held off a lot on case. What I like about these is the bolsters are finished a lot better than on a Rough Rider. Not just because of the R, but I mean, these are flat and polished. The knife just feels... Now, my only disappointment with this particular Copperhead model is the shape of that sheep's foot. And I mean, that Warncliffe. And when I looked at it, I'm like, Wow, man. I guess Case doesn't know how to do a Warncliffe. But no, Case does know how to do a Warncliffe. It's just a different style of Warncliffe. But this is what I would like to have seen on this knife. I don't know, you know. Looks like it would fit in there. Ooh, blade swap. No, I wouldn't do that. I'm not that good about being able to tear knives apart and get them back together and looking looking good afterwards. But I love this knife. It's thin, it's slender, uh, nice, Wharncliffe shape. It's copperhead. It's light too. I mean, because you only got one blade. The tribal lock too, I love though. Again, once I got rid of that blade edge there or rubber stamp thing, this knife looks 100% better to me. And I like this particular pattern. They have another pattern called like Rogers Jig Bone or something like that. That's another antique style that I like. But yeah, anyways, there. I just thought I'd let you know. If you're on a budget and you're looking at all these higher end knives, if you want to try to etch your way up from Rough Rider and stuff, don't be afraid of a Case, but pick one that they do a great job on the covers on them. They do an excellent job with the bone and the coloration. Man, you're going to get usually some good ones. This one's Caribbean Blue. It's supposed to be a saw cut, but it's bare. You can barely. It's a micro saw cut. I don't mind it. They got a little bit more aggressive on this side with, you can see the sawing pattern. I don't mind it. I want to get a mini copper lock with a clip point blade on it, and possibly different patterns of the tribal lock. And this is a vault series, so it's going to go away. There might be another one that I would get with this two-bladed, but with a clip point blade on it, just to have it. And then, yeah, there you go. And I'm going to still try to get into, if I see decent, it doesn't have to be in, like brand new shape like this guy. I can restore them, too, but I don't want to take one that's had some patina, that's been around for a while. I wouldn't want to try to take, this is one that I've restored as much as I'm going to restore. I took as much patina off as I wanted, or basically rust. And I had to re-profile a tip on one of these. But that's about as far as I want to go on restoring an old knife. But if I find one in good shape like this, that's basically brand new, then yeah, I'm going to go for it, especially for like $15. Make a good back scratcher, tongue depressor, a very tiny fork for very tiny food and very tiny mouths, bottle opener, I mean, yeah. Who wouldn't pay $15, man, for an old Imperial like that? The old crown shield. Dun, 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 dun. There you go. Enough rambling. Wasted enough of your time. I would put a silly video here on the end, but oh, speaking of which, those AIs are pretty smart, man. I took a color version film that I knew, was probably going to have issues with it. Made it black and white. Took the video quality, knocked it way down, and if I would have been more out of focus, I was trying a little bit of that, out of focus and jittery movement, giving the AI a hard time to pick that up. Man, they're smart, man. They pick that shit up right away. Hey, copyright violation, copyright claim. What's going to happen? Nobody can see your video. Not even you. What the hell? I just put it up there. I just saw it. You will erase your memory of that video right now, or Google and Yahoo police will be knocking on your door any second. What the hell? Not again. So yeah, anyway, sorry. Try not to get too silly on this one. I was being semi-serious. So there you go. Oh, and this stuff here that I said that is super chromy looking and everything. Yeah, will patina. I left a little potato on there just to see. And yeah, and it's carbon steel. It'll pick up a patina, but that's fine. I like this guy too. He's a little HK1S. A little bushcrafty. All right, so there you go. Thank you for watching, and have an enjoyable and pleasant evening, even if it's daytime. Feel better. Oh, we're kind of like weird animals. Nuts.com. D's Nuts. Do you like D's Nuts? You drive around in your car with D's Nuts hanging out. Oh, let's chase a soccer ball. Well, come to D'sNuts.com, where we got all kinds of nuts for you. In bags, in counters, walking around, lifting weights. D's Nuts.